Hey guys, welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory, and we're going to be taking a look at the final film study for Crawford versus Spence. And we're going to be talking about why I think that Crawford is inevitably going to knock out Errol Spence. I think it's 100% certainty. And we're going to be taking a look. Let's go ahead and take a look. And here we have Postol, who is a very tall and strong fighter. Okay, he's very strong. He was cut. He was ripped. He was very big for his division. Also lacks a lot of head movement. Okay, I talk about this guy on Patreon. He is the Errol Spence of the Orthodox, right? He comes forward. However, if you're Orthodox, you have to have more skill, more tools, more ability. Even though he's not as strong or as hard of a puncher, his overall skill set, I believe, is better than Errol Spence's, even though Errol Spence is still harder to fight, and I want to say overall a better fighter, but Postol is better at getting on and off the line, I believe. And we're going to take a look at some of these things. So first off, Errol Spence circling here, crossing the line here on the jab. He knows how to cross it. If a punch were to come at that moment, he would have been able to slip it back across the other line. Now, taking a step over here gives him a little bit of a feint with the right hand as he comes across the line. And again, getting all the way across, all right? Crawford has already fought somebody that's like Errol Spence, that's very similar in that regard, okay? Slipping here, again, recognizing the control, getting his head off the line, slipping this way, and controlling the line with the jab, getting on the line, boom, just a little bit of touch. And the important part, controlling the line with the hook, it's not important that he hits him with the hook here, right? When he throws it right there, that's just a way to control the line, to try to push and create a little bit of space for Crawford so that he can continue circling, okay? Notice that he's circling here, and now check this out. Look at the big stepping jab that Postol has to find in his line. Number one, as Crawford is taking a big step onto the front foot, boom, the jab comes from Postol, and he's parrying it. Notice it does not touch his chin. He gets control of the arm before. Very close. Very close. But Crawford, even though he's in this position, even though he's doing all these things, even though he's crossing the line, even though he's taking a step, even though you guys don't think he's in position to fight, while he's moving around, he's able to parry this shot here. And look at the position that Postol is in. Look at how he had to exert himself. Look at how much of the ending here, right? From this beat here, from this moment on until he gets into position, right? There's this recoil that he has to get back. He has to reset, right? And Crawford, as he's circling, because he's gonna maintain his active guard, okay? As he's moving, his head is crossing the line. His head is constantly moving. His head was over here by the Top Rank logo a minute ago. It was here, and then it's going here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and all the way up to here. His head is constantly moving. There's no free times where his head is just sitting in one spot, which if you notice, Errol Spence beating up Ugas spent a lot of time sitting on the line. It's not very often that Spence fights someone who's going to be constantly moving. Now again, body shot right here, very important. As we take a look, he knows where the free punch is going to come, right? He's going to get across the line here. Crawford has to take a bigger step here because he's recognizing that he's going to have a beat where he's going to be, the line is going to be cut off, the ring is going to be cut off, and Postol is going to be able to engage with him whether Crawford wants it or not, right? Because there's nowhere to go behind him, so he tries to take a big step. This is the cost of business. This is the cost of business. This is what happens when you're the one circling, when you're the one, I don't want to say moving backwards, but you're the one that's boxing, right? The one that's moving. Every time you get to a position like this, right, there's going to be a free punch. And again, this is the cost of business. If you're not trying to engage and be on the line with your opponent, there are going to be times where the ring is cut off, and you don't have anywhere to go, and if you don't engage, you're going to get hit, no matter what, 100%, okay? These areas are where Spence is going to shine, because they are going to be, right? Every 4 times, right, he circles the ring 1 time, there's 4 opportunities, right, to catch him. Oh, he's on this side. He's on this side of the ropes. He's on this side of the ropes. He's on this side. And there's going to be an opportunity for Errol Spence to win a sequence, to win an engagement, and score a point. Right? In professional boxing, I don't think you should be counting each punch. I think you should be scoring engagements, whoever wins more sequences, right? Now, sometimes you win sequences by a wider margin than others, right? Sometimes you throw a 1-2. Now, sometimes the guy throws a 2, and just because you landed a 1-2 didn't mean your sequence was better than the guy who just landed the 2, because the overarching idea there is the power punch, the right hand after. And the right hand, the straight right hand, might have been better than the guy's 1-2, simply because that's all he threw, right? So there's interesting ways to think about it, but I think the best way to score a fight is sequences and engagements. And this is very important if you're an Errol Spence fan, if you're looking to score the fight, because even though it was a very short sequence, right? A very short-lived engagement, right? Here's the engagement. Bop. He won that engagement. He landed a jab. He's winning more boxing sequences, right, than his opponent. Okay, keep going. This is all very important because this is going to be very important for the flow of the fight, the circling, the moving, right? Crawford's understanding of where the line is, slipping it, seeing the weight coming, right? The 1-2 coming. This is very important because if Postol is to land any punches while Crawford is circling, he's going to have to time it, right? He's going to have to find a way as Crawford gets closer to this point, right? As he cuts the ring off and he gets to this position, okay? And now Crawford's trying to escape. He's trying to get past this narrow little spot here, and Postol's going to say, okay, this is my opportunity because I know where he's going. I'm going to throw a 1-2. Boom, boom. Gets him with the 1-2. Why is this important? Because the better that Crawford is at circling and moving and using his feet, the more that Postol has to stretch his technique, the faster he has to make himself be in order to catch him. And what happens when you wind up throwing punches and you're moving faster than you intend to, you're in momentum. You have your momentum going, and you're going to do things like what Postol's going to do here, how he drags his back leg here. Right? Just like we talked about with the jab, you stretch your technique because you have to be faster than you normally like to be, and now you're stretching your technique, okay? Everything about your technique exists on a spectrum. Against the guy who's slow or against the guy who sucks, every single person who trains boxing looks like Floyd Mayweather, right? Anyway, this guy, this creates space, right? The punch already came from Postol, and now there's an opportunity after that punch comes while Postol is resetting, right? You're going to drive your weight from the ground up, okay? And again, if you guys are new to the channel, I teach a theory about 2-foot punching. We're going to use our entire kinetic chain to throw every punch, including both feet, okay? So as Postol gets on the line, down, now both feet are in the ground, and he has to drive, and his weight drives up. And now he has to get back down to the ground here, boom. And now he's back down on the ground. And this is the position that he gets back planted in. He's square. And because of the fact that his momentum was carrying him, because he had to have momentum, if he wound up just creeping up on the line just very slowly, Crawford would have been able to escape that moment in the ring, that millisecond that he's against the ropes, and Postol would not get his opportunity to score a point and win a sequence, win an engagement, even though it cost him putting himself out of position. Now, this is all important, okay, as we continue moving forward. Boom, circling. Again, jab to the body, and immediately, okay, this is 20 seconds in, right, 34 seconds in. Okay, Postol's coming forward. He pendulums here, and as he comes down, taps the ground, steps into his stepping jab. Boom. Very Errol Spence-like, okay? Now, Crawford is still orthodox here, so they're still mirrored in the closed stance, which is very likely what the stance is going to wind up being towards the middle parts of the round, is Crawford likes to fight southpaw against people who are able to catch him, people who are I don't want to say on his level, right? But people who are on his level, people that can challenge him, okay? Now, catching him with this shot immediately because he has to drag his back foot because he has to stretch his technique so much to catch Crawford. And all of this is Crawford's way of making sure that his opponent is not in the correct position, in a position to interact with him when he elects to attack him, right? He's trying to use his active guard to draw attacks from his opponent. His opponent thought he was going to be very vulnerable here, and now here he's still countering him, okay? Now, this drag, right? Now again, stepping jab, boom. All that time that it takes Postol to reset, he already got hit once, okay? He already got hit, boom, boom. He's still resetting. This is very, very, very important because there's so much more space there for Crawford to be working, right? Now, again, getting on the line with the jab and immediately countering it. Only 30 seconds, only a minute into the round, right? Very, very important. And then stepping jab, re-countering, throwing another jab, okay? Jab, body shot, right? Getting on the line with the 1-2. Very, very Errol Spence-like. Look at him getting countered, okay? Getting countered on the front foot, 1-1-2. Eating a whole entire sequence, right? Now, Postol is trying to catch him, right, when he's on the ropes. He's trying to catch him when he starts moving this way, so he can cut off the ring with the probe and then land the body shot. Boom. Exactly stressing his technique like Errol Spence is going to have to stress his technique to catch Crawford, right? And then getting countered immediately, being made to pay for it, okay? Again, Crawford's entire strategy is going to be to drag him around. He's going to be reeling the big fish in, okay? Carrying him around the ropes as Errol Spence comes forward with the jab, with the 1-1-2, the jab, 1-1, right? And because Errol Spence always enters the line with the bladed stance, he's always very predictable, and he's very, very active, okay? We're going to talk about that again a little bit later, because again, I made some outlandish claims about Postol being better than Spence, and we're going to take a look. I don't want to say better than Spence, but his ability to get on the line is safer, even though he doesn't have the ability to win fights as well as Spence, right? Now, he's not been on the right side of some decisions. Some people actually think that he beat Crawford, which is fascinating. Stepping jab, 1-2. Now, this sequence is really important, okay? Because, again, Postol doesn't move his head a lot, this and that, right? He's cutting off the ring against Crawford. Again, you only have so many beats, so much time when you get your opponent there. 1, throws that shot. Crawford tries to duck the 2 and kind of walks into this shot, okay? This is really, really, really important, okay? Because after he gets hit, we're going to see him kind of wobble a little bit. Now he looks to hold. We all know what it looks like when a guy is a little bit stiff in some spots, right? We see it, we're like, oh, dude, he's hurt. Look at him, give him the little mean mug right there. Right? He like looks at him, little pouty face. And that's Crawford's like, that ain't going to get me. And he's immediately defending himself, rolling under the next punch. That's very important. Errol Spence is not a power puncher. All right? Errol Spence is not a power puncher. He's not, I don't want to say he's not a finisher, but he's not a finisher. He's not the guy. If he was a finisher, how many times did he smack Mikey Garcia with a hard shot? Mikey Garcia just skated. And this is because Errol Spence always comes forward behind the jab. All right, so I'm not saying that Spence can't hurt or catch Crawford. Everyone thinks Crawford's chinny. He's not chinny, man. If he was chinny, he'd be going down, right? I want to say, like, I don't know, do people think Mayweather was chinny? Because Mayweather got hurt in almost every one of his fights, too. Right? It's not like he escaped every fight. Again, Mayweather, not a lot of head movement, okay? People found his head, okay? But he's not chinny, but sometimes he does get caught, right? And this is a very, very basic defensive flaw, moving forward and kind of ducking below. And in the open stance here, this shot is really easy to land, okay? You just kind of sweep the shot in, and at the last second, you're going to snap it when the guy's ducking his head. You're going to, like, hope to get him. Sometimes you're going to miss. Sometimes you're going to... But the sweeping shot when the guy's ducking here, you get it a lot of times, right? You get it. The guy's head's not going anywhere, and he gets Crawford here, all right? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Now, again, gets him again. Boom, right? And again, I don't think that Errol Spence is a finisher. I think that Crawford is going to be able to, if he gets hit, to tie him up, do stuff like this. Check this out. This is really funny. Catches him with a little shot inside, but look at Crawford's face again, right? We'll know if Spence gets him with a good shot because he makes this face. He got to show the crowd. He's looking at all these people over here telling him no, getting hit. This is really interesting, too, because we're going to talk about that. I think I got some clips in here later talking about that. 1, throws the 2, sweeping shot. Crawford does get under this shot. Now, check this out. Crawford's trying to come back with this shot already. Okay? This is one of those places where I think that Spence is going to be vulnerable. When he throws the 1-2, Crawford gets under it. You're ducking a little low here, Crawford. All right? You're ducking a little bit low. I don't anticipate that being a problem in the fight. The ducking low, I don't think he's going to be doing it too much, but you should not be ducking below the waist here. It's one of those things that happens, especially in the open stance, more than I want to say even the closed stance. It's a very common thing. If you're not down there for too long, one beat, sure, but don't come up holding like this either, right? Crawford should not be holding, but I want you to pay attention, right, to He's throwing the rear hand, and look at him falling off balance, right? He anticipated getting him. This part's really important, okay? We all know what happens when we anticipate hitting the heavy bag and we miss. You ever miss the heavy bag and you fly off balance? Errol Spence only practices punching the heavy bag. When Errol Spence misses a punch, all of his weight flies away. He is so off balance. Crawford comes up here. I don't want to say holding because also he's invading his line with his weight because all of his momentum is going forward because he has to be faster than he is. But Crawford's looking to counter him before he gets back into position. Now, this is also really interesting. Again, jab to the body here. Boom. Okay. And as we go forward, he's reading the weight from Postal, right? So he's going to get on the line. Postal's going to take that step forward. Boom, jab to the body, right? Now, if we watch Postal's weight, he's going to reset again, touch his nose a little bit to show like, oh, I'm just chilling. Look at him penduluming. He's anticipating Crawford getting to the front foot here because he's going to look to attack him as he lands, right? And as Postal comes forward, he's slipping that shot on that control here and landing a body shot, okay? Tries to defend the position. It's not a great defense of the position, right? It's not bad, right? It's not bad because he's interacting with the right hand, all that stuff. But Errol Spence does the same thing, where he's going to pendulum forward with his jab and come forward, stabbing that jab, and we can see Crawford looking to counter it. Okay? Again, dragging his opponent through the line, through the positions, and more able to read when he's going to make attacks because he has to make them so far in advance, right? Because he has to use his attacks to cut the ring off, right? Now Crawford again, circling, okay? Getting some control, penduluming away. And again, circling, right? A lot of circling from Crawford. Penduluming, circling. And now, that same movement, right? As he gets on the line, Postal's going to get on the front foot, penduluming in, and we can see his momentum coming. We can see his rhythm. And a second ago, he got hit with the jab to the body. Then he countered a jab probe, right? The movement, he countered it. And now here he sees the weight coming from Postal, and he's countering him. Jab to the body, counter hook. Okay, and again, I think it's inevitable that he drags someone like Spence through the positions, right? Gets him comfortable following him around, and then of course, Spence is going to think he's so clever. Whoa, he's about to cross the ropes right here. I'm going to get him. And of course he's going to get countered. This is not Crawford's first time in the ring. And again, Spence has a very bladed stance. He usually opens up on the line with his jab. Almost always. Sometimes he can take a step forward and throw the rear hand too, but he's still going to be susceptible to this very similar counters, okay, because he doesn't move his head, even though he still may surprise him. Now, this is why I said that Postal is better at getting on the line, right? Because we saw him getting on the line with the stepping jabs, and he thought that was going to be enough, right? He thought, oh, this is going to be easy work, whatever, and he starts getting countered. Crawford starts taking his jab away. Well, Postal starts fencing with him, right? They're lead hand controlling, right? And they're trying to have control of the space between them, right? Because they're both looking to occupy that space, right? They're both looking to fight off these timings. And again, this is a higher level technique, I think, than Spence usually uses. He doesn't usually do this stuff. He'll come forward, he'll touch the jab, right, with his forearm, and then he'll jab over, like beat. He'll touch it and then jab over. He'll get there. He'll throw rear hands. But he makes attacks on the line. He doesn't just probe here. He doesn't just give him something to look at. Here he is, cutting the ring off, right? And again, it looks like Crawford's ready to be hit. He's penduluming. He's flying around, right? But Crawford's still doing a good job timing when he gets planted, right? Figuring out, controlling that space, not getting hit with dumb shit, right? Sword fighting again. Now, all of that sword fighting, look at the position that he winds up being in when he finally gets an attack off. Okay? Again, I just wanted to point this clip out because on average, I think that because Postol is an orthodox fighter, the orthodox matchup is much more common. So someone who's, maybe a weight bully or big for their division, right? Like Postol, who's like 5'11", I think, 5'10", 5'11", 140 pounds supposedly, right? He's jacked, he's super strong, very similar size to Errol Spence, right? In his body, like he's a little bit smaller, right? Spence is still bigger than him. Spence has bigger arms, for sure. He's also 7 pounds heavier, right? Theory, right? But his creativeness to be getting on the line and off the line has to be greater than that of Spence, because people are so much more used to the timing and the rhythm of the angles of the orthodox, the closed stance versus the open stance, right? Everyone struggles a little bit more against a southpaw than they do, right, normally against an orthodox, okay? So I do think that on average that Postol is better at knowing when to and not to engage. However, we do recognize that he doesn't attack the line as often, so he doesn't score as much, right? He's a little bit he's a little bit easier to fight, right? So the harder that Spence is to fight, he's a better puncher. He is a better puncher than Postol, I think. On average, he's getting more weight into his punches per, right? So he's going to score more and win more fights, right? Postol loses a lot of close decisions where he's just not active enough. He's just not hitting the guy enough, even though he's like a pretty good fighter, right? Now, again, coming forward, jab, counter, right? And again, the same penduluming forward, and Crawford can read his weight. Jab, and then countering him with the hook. It's just inevitable that eventually Crawford starts getting the timing and start landing these kinds of shots, whether he hurts him or he's just controlling the line with them, okay? Now, this is really, really important, too, because here he is getting hit. But because he's naturally already in his active guard, right? His weight is already moving. He gets hit. And now he's going to go down, right? Pull, up. And he throws the 2, and he throws the 3. Now, this 2-3 is really, really, really important, okay, guys? This sequence is really, really, really important. I want to give a shout-out to BDA Boxing. And real quick, like, they were talking about how this fight might not sell a lot and all this stuff. And I thought it was really interesting because I don't usually get film study stuff in my YouTube feed. I don't usually get, I'll get Showtime, or I'll get some PBC stuff that shows up because this weigh-ins for this. I always click on that stuff, like Fight Hub. I have had so many film studies popping up in my feed. I have had so many Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford because of this. Almost my entire feed is completely monopolized by Errol Spence and Terence Crawford face-off. Terence Crawford film a closer look from the Motivedia guy. Just so many channels also that I've never heard of. So many videos, so many, right? So they're thinking like this fight is not going to sell. The casuals don't know this and that. Obviously, I guess that makes a little bit of sense because the casuals aren't making YouTube videos about, Spence versus Crawford. Anyway, there's just so much hype about this fight. There's so much, it's blowing my mind how much content there is on Spence versus Crawford. It's amazing. And anyway, some I'm going to say dipshits, are saying, I would have liked to fight 3 years ago. Shut up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay? Max Kellerman, shut up. Okay? But BDA Boxing pointed out that whenever Errol Spence gets hit in the body, he kind of does this butt scoot. Like he jumps back, right? He gets hit, boom, right? Down, counter that shot, body. Now, Errol Spence, I know this is low. Don't judge me, okay? I'm not giving him a pass. It's a little bit low. But Errol Spence also pulls his guard down so that he can kind of jump away from the body shot, right? Now, real quick, there's a few things that this can be, right? You guys remember how stupid Mikey Garcia looked after he got his ass beat round after round by Errol Spence? And then he would go back to his corner, raising his hand, going, hoorah, right? Now, sometimes when you used to see a guy get hit in the face, pop, and then he would get smacked, And then he would still go block, block. You guys ever seen that? Where a guy gets clearly hit, and then he goes, bah, bah, and he puts his... And there's some obscurity there, right? If you're at a bad angle, maybe you think he did block that shot. Maybe you think, right? If you're a judge, maybe he's doing that to say, nope, that didn't land clean, right? Like that kind of, you know? Maybe he really doesn't like getting hit in the body, right? But here we see off of the jab, right? And again, Errol Spence is going to have to overextend himself to catch Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford's he's going to be moving, right? And then he's going to be looking to counter you when you engage with him, okay? Now, he's also very active offensively with this style. We're not really highlighting that. We're highlighting the inevitability, right? Now, Errol Spence does the butt scoop, throws his hands down. Terence Crawford throws multiple punches. So when he does the butt scoop, his weight shoots back, his head goes forward, and his hands go down. When Crawford hits him in the body, he's going to do that shit, and he's going to bring his hands down, and he's going to get hit with the hook too. Again, inevitability. All right? Because Errol Spence is going to be constantly in momentum, because he's going to be constantly looking to chase him down and be the aggressor and be the... And if he fights him at a slower pace like Ocampo, sitting on the line, we all know that Terence Crawford's going to win that fight. Right? We all know, because he's the puncher. Now, as we continue going, this clip is very important, okay? So here's Terence Crawford getting clipped on the way in, right? Getting clipped here, okay? Look at this punch here from Postal. Boom. Here's his arm. Look at the clean shot, right? This is like an excellent little uppercut here. Beautiful shot from Postal. Timing Crawford on the way in. Errol Spence sometimes does have good shots like this. Notice his head's not moving. Right? He still gets hit by Crawford as well. Very important. Crawford's off. Look at the look on his face. He's like, motherfucker, I got you. I'm coming. And he's going to jump on the line here, controlling, right? Again, he doesn't just bash in. He's a little bit measured. He's controlling him. He's going to start fencing with him. Okay, we're going to play this game here. Okay? Crawford goes down, up. Look at him jumping in here. Crawford parries the jab, slips his head off the line, and catches him. He's getting hit too. No big deal. The important part is that Crawford just got hit with a good shot. Errol Spence is not a finisher. Errol Spence comes pounding through the jab, and it's very obvious that he's coming through the jab. And here, Crawford is countering the jab. He's getting hit by the two, but he's countering the jab. Boom, boom. Hitting him with the hook after being hit with a punch that his opponent thought hurt him. And now Crawford's coming forward, controlling that line, and again, hitting a guy who has no head movement, right? And this is all off of a sequence that Postal initially won. He won that sequence. He hit Crawford twice. Boom, boom. Again, Errol Spence is not a power puncher, you guys. He's not a power puncher. Okay? And this is a great time right here. Actually, so let's see. We're going to get into the quiz, all right? So first off, we got a couple of winners here. First off, I think it's this guy. All right. So this is the winner from the first quiz, okay? He was the first correct answer, Lisandro Barragan. Active guard. It's your first set of defense, right? It's the first. I can't remember exactly what the question was, but it was active guard. It's the most basic and most obvious thing. Notice in this video, Crawford, his active guard just consists of circling and moving, keeping his head moving, right? Constantly being in momentum, right? Even though we see he's not doing this or doing that. But it creates so many different layers of defense for you simply by doing that. It's very difficult even for a high-level guy to hit you, right? For all of you that don't understand how hard it is to hit somebody with just a 1-2, right? It's not easy just to jump on the line 1-2 and hit a guy who's moving, right? Even though at the end of the round, Crawford does get kind of smacked by Postal, right? We don't want to forget that. But mostly just an active guard. The level of defense it gives you is so high. So, Lisandro Barragan, leave me a comment and I'll get you your Fouts Boxing combat system. Okay? And then the next one here is the straight G-turo. If you're not bladed, then foot positioning should be to have one foot on each side of your opponent's head at all times so that you are always in position to make attacks. That's like nearly perfect, right? It's nearly perfect, okay? Now, so send me a message so I can get you your copy of the Fouts Boxing Combat System. The 1 foot on each side of your target, okay? Now we got this guy right here, LeVar. You should have 1 foot on each side of your target, all right? So I think it was 6 minutes after the video went up. No, something like that. The guy got the question, and then this guy was like 30 seconds after. So I'm going to give you a complimentary Fouts Boxing Combat System as well. But LeVar, 1 foot on each side of your target. This is a more correct answer because we have different targets in boxing. We're not always just looking to interact with our opponent's head. Okay? And this idea is very, very, very important because we have multiple lines that we need to look to interact with offensively and defensively. Our offensive line is our opponent's head. Our defensive lines are our opponent's hands. And we have to interact with all three effectively in order to win a fight. Okay? And again, you're 1 foot on each side of your target. Okay? So that you can slip punches, right? And so that you can do damage to your opponent's head, right? If you don't have your 1 foot on the other side of your opponent's head, you cannot transfer your weight to that side of your body or to that side of their head, which means you can't get any weight into your punch. You're going to be hitting him, and you're going to still be bladed with your left shoulder forward, but you're going to be throwing your right hand forward. Okay? And you're not going to be able to hurt them. All right? You can score, sure. Okay? Anyway, but for Fulton, he has nowhere to slip, right? When his opponent throws punches at him because he only has his feet in a line, right? And it's very easy for you to attack a single line, right? Anyway, great answers, guys. Leave a comment, and I'll get you guys your copies of the Fouts Boxing Combat System. And now, for today's question, and this answer was in a previous video. Again, I've done many videos of Spence versus Crawford, so if you guys want to check them out, they're all on my channel. But today's question is, and it's very simple, right? This is a very, very simple answer, okay? You can do it in 5 words, okay? Why doesn't Errol Spence have punching power? Okay, it's very, very basic, very, very simple, okay? Don't overthink it. I don't need a whole paragraph. If you leave a whole paragraph, don't worry about it. I love reading your guys' comments. But why doesn't Errol Spence punch hard? Okay? Very, very simple. All right, getting back to the film study. Or were we here? Nope, next one. Okay. Again, countering the jab to the body, and then looking to follow up after. Now, Errol Spence checks the line with punches. He doesn't come to the line with probes. And here, Postal, we see him, front foot, pendulum. He's about to land on the front foot, and Crawford times it and throws a hook around the guard. This is a very clean punch, lands it right on the temple, and drops him. As soon as he gets to the line, he understands that Postal is going to control it, right? So he knows that's going to be down the line straight to his chin, right? That's where the line is, so Crawford goes around it. This is going to be even more obvious against Errol Spence, who doesn't control the line as much as he does punch the line, right? Crawford just walking out there and just doing this technique. Let's say, hypothetical question, let's say Errol Spence in round 1 gets on the line with Crawford and lands 10 jabs. He gets on the line, boom, jab. Then he gets on the line, boom, jab. And he lands every single one. And it's like, he gets on the line, jab, gets off the line. Gets on the line, jab, gets off the line. 10 in a row, 30 seconds goes by. Is Crawford hurt? Is he close to being knocked out? 0% shot, right? 0% shot that he's hurt or knocked out. Now, If Crawford just gets on the line and throws a goddamn hook every single time Errol Spence gets on the line, even if he gets hit with the jab sometimes, even if this, even if that, he's going to hit Errol Spence with one of those hooks. Guaranteed. It's guaranteed eventually. Because Errol Spence is not going to be able to disrupt enough of Crawford's line to hurt him because he's not a hard puncher. And eventually Crawford's going to smack him. Okay? It's just going to happen. So eventually Crawford's going to get on the line like this and he's going to hit Crawford, or he's going to hit Spence. And the thing is he's a really good finisher. All right? As we're going to take a look. Circling, right? Touching the line. This is in the same round that he already dropped him, right? And look at him dragging the big fish around the ring. 1, 2, okay? He knows that the ring's about to get cut off. Postol knew that this was one of the only opportunities he was going to have to cut the ring off of him, right? Boom. Cut the ring off from him because he's going to circle out this way. So in order to block it, 1, 2, look at his back leg coming off the ground. He blocks, boom. And now he has to come forward because he had to be faster than he actually was. And Crawford is smashing him. Just like in the first round. Okay? Just like in the first round, how he was dragging Postol to him. Eventually, he caught him with this shot and hurt him. We're going to see him, again, falling, eats a body shot. Crawford chasing, leaping shots. And Postol's already on his way down. Right? And again, it's inevitable. Okay? And I think we're going to be getting into some Errol Spence clips now. Okay? Gets on the line with the jab, follows him back with the hook here, right? Or a jab or a, kind of a cross thing, but he's back and he's getting some decent weight into this. Okay? Kell Brook, second round, easy counter. He did this all night to Errol Spence. Over and over. I want to say it's probably his best game. He's really good at it. But he did it a ton. Here's Errol Spence getting on the line. 1-1-2. Misses. Smack. Smack. Here's Ugas. Counter. Counter to the body. Counter to the head. Okay? Again, this is a sequence that I think is going to be extremely effective against Errol Spence. The body shot especially, because he reacts to body shots so poorly. Look at his weight. Look at him trying to defend this position. He ate the body shot. Brings both of his hands down. Getting hit with another counter here. Who's a better counterpuncher? Crawford or Ugas? Okay, well, to be honest, Ugas is a pretty damn good counterpuncher. I'll be honest. He's a pretty damn good counterpuncher. Spence, but Ugas is not a hard puncher either. He's a 140-pound guy, right? He used to fight at 140, still wasn't getting knockouts. Right? Maybe he fought at 140, I don't know. 147, no knockouts. Look at how big he is. He's definitely bigger than Spence, isn't he? Huge dude. Huge dude. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2. Countered. It's inevitable. It's inevitable that Spence is going to be getting hit hard and clean by Crawford. He doesn't move his head. His head is literally always in the same spot. Okay? Even if Spence winds up hurting Crawford, because he's not a power puncher, because he doesn't actually have one-punch knockout power. Okay? Now, I want to say, I know people say, well, he keeps saying, that's because I don't wind up. That's because I don't wind up. No, it's not. It's not. Okay? If you're a good... Because Crawford doesn't wind up either. Why does he hit harder? Okay? Again, leave your answers. Boom. Easy. Bop. Bop. Okay? Countering him to the body. Errol Spence acts weird when he gets hit to the body. Really weird. Look at his arms here. Right? Trying to protect the body. Getting smacked in the head. Also very important. Look at him throwing his rear hand. He's at parity right now with Ugas. He's sitting on the line. And he just throws this punch. He was planted. And he throws this shot. And look at his back leg coming off the ground. And he's forced to shift. He wasn't even in momentum. He didn't need to be in momentum to land this punch. And he still threw himself off balance. Okay? This is because he doesn't move his head. He doesn't know where his head is supposed to go. He doesn't know how to cross the line and punch. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence's camp, they don't understand that moving your head doesn't inhibit your punch, right? The only thing that Errol Spence is showing is that he doesn't know how to punch and put his head wherever he wants it. Because you can throw any punch and cross the line and put your head anywhere you want it. You don't just have to have a perfunctory place. Oh, it has to go exactly here. You can put your head wherever you want and throw whatever punch you want. Your head just has to move. That's how short-sighted Errol Spence's camp is when it comes to, oh, if you just stick it. That's not how head movement works. They just don't get it, right? Counter. Easy shot. Easy shot. It's inevitable. Errol Spence is going to be drug around. He's going to be on that reel, being drug around the ring by Crawford. Just reeling him in, counter, counter, counter. Okay? Again, throwing this shot from parity. Okay? Look at him get blasted here. Okay? Planted, throwing the shot, falling so far off balance. Counter, 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 counter. One of the most important things about all these counters, if you guys go back through all the Errol Spence film study, especially versus Danny Garcia, I think it was like round 8. There's a round where Errol Spence throws like 8 punches or 9 punches or something. The whole round. And that's because Danny Garcia was attacking him and controlling him. Right? It was a round at which he got hit hard early, and then he took the round off. Because Errol Spence doesn't like to punch with you. As soon as you start opening up and throwing punches at him, he sits there and he freezes. He tries to block everything. He relies on his size to be intimidating, even while punches are being thrown at him. And look at him here. Boom, boom. Oh, he's not attacking. He's not attacking. Look at his defense here. It's, number one, it's atrocious. He's not blocking any of these punches. He's just getting smashed, right? He's not moving his head. Well, he doesn't know where his head's supposed to go. All he's trying to do is reset and get back to parity, right? Anyway, Crawford's win, I believe, is inevitable. There's nothing that Errol Spence can do unless he's a completely different fighter. Okay? A completely different fighter. But the fact that when he gets to these positions, the only hook that Errol Spence ever has is the left hook that doesn't move his head at all, right? It's a better shot that he throws to the body, right? He'll throw a 2 and then he'll throw a 3 to the head, or a 3 to the body, never to the head. He's not really a 2-3 guy. He can't really go across the line, boom, and then bring his head back. He gets stuck in this position so much. But he can't defend this position with punches, with hooks. And when we see him moving around with his active guard, he's not very good at blocking. Sometimes he's got a decent shield. Sometimes. But getting to this position, he doesn't ever throw the cross. He doesn't throw the left hook. He doesn't know how to defend this position. Okay? He doesn't know how to get here. He always comes back with this really awkwardness, right? And this is too much time to be on the line and be defenseless. No defense and no offense the whole time. Anyway, if you guys want to learn how 2-foot punching works, how all this stuff works, not just that, but also the things that Errol Spence doesn't do with his hands that someone like Terence Crawford does. If you want to learn exactly what Ryan Garcia does with his hands, okay, to generate speed and power, exactly what Tank Davis does with their kinetic chain. From the ground up, I will teach you what to do with every single piece, okay? And not just that, okay? You'll also be able to see my students go through and work through my drills as I film study and teach them how to improve, teach them where they're failing, okay? It's an incredible system. Our punching power works from the ground up with both feet. And I'm the first person in history to be able to crack and understand this theory and understand how our bodies work mechanically and be able to teach punching power to any person on the planet, male or female. Okay? And I will teach you what to do with every single piece of your kinetic chain. Okay? I will teach you literally the most efficient combat system on the planet. Okay? So check it out. Again, I'm the first person to understand how any of it works, the first person to teach it, and I'm the only person on the planet that has a completely cohesive combat system to teach you everything that you need to learn about getting on the line, landing your hardest punch, as well as improving the punching power of your hardest punch, and then how to get off the line. And then how to do it all and defend yourself, and defend the line, and use those punches as probes as well. How to fight off of all of your own punches, okay? If you want to learn to do what Crawford was doing to Postal, but better, okay? Learn all the positions, learn all of the little tricks, okay? Again, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System in the description below and in the comments. But also, if you guys, I know it's a lot. It can be a lot to purchase, like $2.99. It's not that much when you look at all the other combat systems on the planet. But if you guys need some extra help, stick through the videos. I'm going to be giving away a combat system in probably almost every video except for the ones that I forget, okay, if I don't remember to do one. So stay tuned, watch the videos, learn, answer the questions, and be rewarded for your hard work, okay? I value hard work more than I value money, but I'm not just going to give the shit away for free, right? So, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and answer the question in the comments for your chance to win the Fouts Boxing Combat System, the most complete boxing combat system on the planet.